Welcome friends, it's Ray. Thank you so much for joining me today. In today's video, I am working on an art journal page. So I have stamped with the Versamark ink. I've stamped my butterfly twice and used some aged bronze enamel, embossing enamel, and appears I should have stamped this a couple of more times before applying my embossing powder, but I didn't. And well, I'm going for a grunge look anyway, so I am going to use this and make it work. I didn't want this outline to be in black. I wanted it slightly lighter, and I used this red Admiral butterfly from Crafter's Companion. That's a nice big butterfly. I love it. In Catherine Pooler ink in yellows and oranges. I love this combo, and these are colors that I got on one of my thrifty outings for a few bucks each, and I love these inks. These are dye inks, which I'm not used to, but they're really juicy. I love them, and if I purchase a set or start a set of dye inks in the future, it will definitely be Catherine Pooler. I've used the coordinating dies to die cut out the butterfly. Bringing in some embossing ink in a tube and going around the outer area where I have white space, because I really don't want the white space. So I am going to apply that embossing ink and then apply some more of this aged bronze enamel and heat emboss again, just to remove most of that white area. I'm bringing in more of that yellow and the orange colors and going around the outer edges to clean up any of that white space, and then and coming in to add more orange to my butterfly. Here I'm placing a little magenta acrylic paint on my mat, adding water to it, and we'll use a paintbrush to splatter some of this pink on my butterfly. Here I am using my brayer to just ink up a panel using the magenta ink, and I'm using Canson XL watercolor for my art journal page, and I'm using my heat tool to dry my panel before going on to the next step. And here I'm bringing in Tutti Frutti, a darker orange, and spritzing that with water, and I will use my brayer to add that more orange on top of the pink that magenta that I'm using. I love the way it's okay to mix your mediums like this. This is why I love mixed media. Almost anything goes. And I'm going to come in with my heat tool and dry this layer. Always dry your layers before moving on to the next layer. Bringing in my plum archival ink and the faded type text stamps from Tim Holtz, and am just going around my panel adding some text in different areas. Bringing in my gel matte medium to seal this because the Catherine Pooler ink is water reactive. I'm bringing in my Ranger texture paste and a Stamperia stencil, and we'll just add that paste in a few areas on my panel. I also bring in a Tim Holtz stencil just for some variety. This is a piece of ephemera, and I'm just cutting off the leaves. I decided I wanted more orange in my butterfly, so I'm bringing more of that in here. Here I am inking up the edges of my panel with that dark tiki, no, this is a Tutti Frutti. I'm cleaning up the edges of my butterfly and cutting off a little of that excess that's more orange than bronze, and then we'll ink up the edges with the Tutti Frutti also. And here I have trimmed the right side of my butterfly off. I've added double-sided foam tape to the back of my butterfly, and now I will go ahead and start positioning my elements on my panel. In ephemera from Tim Holtz Field Notes ephemera. I add my heavy acrylic block to this area so that it helps it to adhere and to go ahead and affix the rest of my elements. So I wanted to pull in some yellow, so I'm bringing in some stamps from the Tim Holtz stamp collection. I'm using glue dots to affix these stamps to the panel. I placed some acrylic white paint on my mat and added a little water and mixing that and applying that white splatter all over my panel. I had a piece of leaf left, so I decided I wanted to go ahead and put that on my panel. And then after I do, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of white splatter by way of my white gel pen. I used black archival ink to ink up the edges of my sentiment strips, and then I did add double-sided tape to the back. This journal page was so fun to create. I love all the rich, bold colors. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you liked the video, and if not a subscriber, will subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Until next time, good day, friends.